Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm always caught off guard by going live despite me being the one who clicks the button. All right. So, there's just a handful of us because this was sort of impromptu, but I figured it would be nice, given how many new people are part of the community, joining the Discord and things like that, to say hi to folks and sort of give them an opportunity to introduce themselves and for me to introduce myself and just sort of chat. So that's really the plan here. Well, I'm not planning on building anything today, although we can take a look at some of the stuff I've been up to, but that's kind of the plan. I don't know how many people are going to show up for this, to be completely honest. Hey, how's it going? Ah, yes, we were just chatting in Discord. Sorry, so just as a heads up, I've got. Hey, Plus, how's it going? I'm here for the free drinks. It's just like I've got my like old university hoodie on, and anytime we ran events, everyone was there for the free pizza and free drinks. So nothing new there. But yeah, so I've got my camera here like this, and then I've got my chat this way. So this will be fun. But yeah, man, I'm shocked at how many people saw that video. Like, if you've never seen YouTube analytics before, I want to show you guys some crazy stuff. So, like, this is what it looks like to be a YouTuber. You just stress over this page. I don't know if I would say I am a YouTuber, but I'm somebody who has a YouTube page. And so, like, if the anxiety of like producing stuff wasn't enough, right? Um, they rank all of your videos by moment, like moment by moment. So they're like, this is the best video you've ever produced for the first day it's been out, or like for 4 days. This video has just like smashed everything. It's absolutely bonkers. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, this I've never seen analytics like this in my life. Like this is bizarre. And like usually as a video reaches like further and further beyond your traditional audience, the click-through rate goes down, the like ratio goes down, and like this engagement metric goes down. Right? Because it's like you're now stretching beyond further and further beyond who we know are going to like your stuff. But this metric has just been going up. Like it's getting better. Like the further we reach, the more people are liking the stuff. It's crazy. Um, I mean, they're a great start. You always need an easy in for getting anyone into a complex thing, right? Yeah, absolutely. Um, that's wild. Congrats. Yeah, thanks, Nick. I remember when you were getting like 300 views on videos and was very impressed. Thanks. Yeah. Hey, thank you, Nick. I really appreciate that. Hello, Wilhelm. How's it going? So yeah, I was just sort of like introducing people to YouTube analytics and the craziness of this video, which is still kind of going nuclear. Like it has lulls in the evenings. At like midnight, it starts to dip, but then it shoots back up. And so I've kind of been thinking. Let's pop this back to my face and take a quick look. Yeah, we have a couple people popping in now. Um, I have plans. I have plans now for um, organizing, I suppose, because this is a sort of thing I've done a lot in the past. Like when I was an undergrad, and Nick can attest to that. Nick's an old friend of mine from the undergrad days. We were in a lot of like these computer science student societies and things like that. And one of my favorite things has always been like organizing people to do things that they couldn't do on their own, right? Um, but it's been a long time since I've known what that thing was. Because like after you leave school, if you've done like post secondary schooling, right? There's like that is a very neatly organized community for you to interact with constantly. You have like, you're in the same geographical location, you have the same interests. It's really easy to like organize people and do things together because of proximity and shared interests, right? Um, Hey, how do I? Sorry, is it Advait? How do I pronounce your name? I wanna practice making sure. I have an anxiety about like mispronouncing people's names, and then I just won't say their name, which is a horrible thing to do. So I'm gonna practice, and I'm gonna get names wrong, and I want you to correct me because I will do my best to get it right because I want to recognize people here. Um, yeah, Nick, exactly. That's why you run Soup. Uh, Tim, don't we all have plans? Yes, yes, we do. Oh, are you reading Digital Minimalism right now? Because fantastic. Anyways, yes. So I've been looking like I've wanted a thing to sort of like be useful again. You know, like I mean, obviously I'm useful at work to the extent that I'm capable. Um, and during my PhD, I was studying this, but I was kind of like at some point I became um, I stopped believing that I could make a difference about the attention economy through research. So I guess we'll talk a little bit about that. Hey, Daniel, how's it going? Ad Adwait. Adwait. Okay, very cool. Thank you. I never try to organize people. They tend to just end up around me. Fair. So yeah, okay. Anyways, where was I with this story? Are you interested in making a phone setup video? Absolutely. I'm just trying to figure out how to get the camera aimed properly. I'm basically working on the setup for that. So yes, with my research, I was becoming like I was losing faith that more research was the solution. And this is because as I was reading the literature on smartphone addiction, smartphone overuse, and interventions for digital interventions for reducing smartphone use, what I was realizing was um, we know what the UI UX patterns are, those attention capture damaging patterns that I talked about in the video. We know what they are. And on the browser, you can strip them out, just like I was talking about. You can identify those patterns like infinite scroll and, you know, notifications and all that kind of crap, and you can just rip them out because, again, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, that's yours, baby. You can just mess with that. But when it's an app, it's locked down. And there's all these workarounds that these like brilliant researchers are working on developing applications, demonstrating that they work. But at the end of the day, a lot of these applications are difficult to install because you have to go through like iOS's security measures, and then you have to give invasive permissions to the blocking applications. And also, you can't just strip out the useful features; you have to like block applications. And social media has like valid use cases. Same with YouTube, right? Like YouTube is a great educational resource. Discord is a great way to gather people, as you all have noticed, right? Social media, it can be useful for reconnecting with people that you haven't seen in a long time and all sorts of things like that. There are valid use cases, which are how we continue to rationalize the bad use cases, right? Um, I mean, so many people are trying to get away from it all that I am building business around it. The research has done its work. Exactly. Not gonna lie, I'm only 80 pages in the book, but already I can see the gambling patterns in every app that I'm using right now. Exactly. And so I'm looking at this, right? And I'm like, okay, we know what these patterns are, and trying to work around limitations just isn't like work around the limitations of like closed source applications on your smartphone isn't working, right? The solution isn't building more and more workarounds in like an attention economy arms race on your phone where you're always going to be losing because like Facebook is better armed than you. Like the solution is like political and legislative action and like drastic action on the part of the individual and their surrounding communities. And by that I mean drastic action in terms of like full-on digital minimalism, right? Like ditching the smartphone, uninstalling the apps, like a full-on abstinence when it comes to the smartphone, right? And then on the other hand, what we can list and categorize all of these damaging patterns, these attention capture damaging patterns. Why are we continuing to let it be legal to put them in your apps? Right? Like if we know these are damaging, and the stated use case of Facebook is to connect people and stuff like that, however, specific use cases supported by addictive features are not part of that mission and are not helpful, why do we allow them to be in the application? Like, we don't let children gamble, right? Legally. Why do we let children roll the slot machine of the infinite feed? It doesn't make any sense. So, yeah. What do we got? It's interesting coming at this from the POV of someone who is very online on computer, but also not on social media. Yeah, I mean, because you can be a technologist. I mean, like everyone who's watching this channel is going to be a technologist, right? There's somebody who loves home labbing and tech, and like to some degree, free and open source technology is like one of the last bastions of where technology is cool, right? Like I've long since stopped being interested in technologies produced by big tech. Like they're not cool, they're not fun and exciting, but like open source stuff keeps putting out fun and exciting things. So you can be a technologist without being chronically online, right? Minimalist control, hell yeah. The problem is society in the US is headed the other way. See also the spread of gambling. Yes, I agree. But I mean, I think there's means to organize, right? And even if you're not talking about like, here's the thought. Even if you can't, say, mobilize enough people to care about this to bring about legislation or anything like that, right? You can bring together small pockets of people who are interested in living sort of more, what's the word I'm looking for? Intentionally, and using their technology more intentionally and reinforcing one another by like helping, right? By talking about it with one another. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I started noticing, just like when I was building certain things for like computer science undergraduate societies back in the day, I started to notice this like undercurrent. Whenever I talked about attention economy stuff in my research, people were like, damn, I really need that. Like, that would be awesome. I keep using my phone and I can't figure out how to stop using it, but I really want to. And I'm like, holy shit, like that's a big deal, right? Like that as a statement is kind of bonkers. I want to stop doing this, but I can't. I don't know how. That's like a really big thing to say. And I heard this constantly. I hear it from my best friends. I hear it from my loved ones. I hear it from students. And now I'm hearing it from YouTube, like everybody on this channel now. And it's like, okay, there's a way to help here. I have some amount of expertise. And as some of you folks who are part of the Discord now have noticed, I am not the most Linux savvy person in the room. I'm fairly good. I can build things. And I'm not the best programmer in the room. And I'm not the best home labber or Linux admin or like a lot of these technical aspects. I think I'm pretty decent, but like a lot of you are phenomenal. My skill set is like the last 4 years I've been developing a background in like psychology to figure out how this like attention capture stuff works. And I think that's kind of one of the things that I can bring to the table. But anyways, I started giving talks about this at hackathons and things like that. And every time I apply to give a talk like this, the organizers are kind of hesitant. They're like, Siri just started listening in on me. Huh. Yeah, need to get rid of Siri. Anyways, every time I attend one of the events and I pitch this as a talk, they're like, I don't think that's going to do very well. Like, you should probably do a talk on machine learning instead, because that's what everybody's interested in, like machine learning or cybersecurity, something like that, right? But then I give this talk, and everybody is like, holy shit, same here. I hate my phone. I don't know what to do. How do I quit? Please help. And I'm like, okay, this is a thing that we seriously need to talk about. And so I finally managed to put this together in a little YouTube video. And then I guess I was right. I guess I was right. Like it's not just like a handful of random coincidences. People do really want to talk about this. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, let's take a quick look. Absolutely. Oh, wow. A number of chats. I gotta catch up with chat. I've been yapping too long. Etereth says there should be a list of different app alternatives that serve the same purpose but without damaging mechanism. Yes, and that's one of the things I want to build in this community. Let's we'll start talking about developing resources together. I think we're going to create a wiki. I think we're going to, as a team, create a wiki that sort of outlines digital minimalist resources, right? How do you be a technologist who, you love tech and home labbing and Linux, but you also unplug and touch grass and, spend time, like focus time with your family and things like that? How do you do that? So yes, we will be doing that. What else we got? Not only the US, from a European perspective, we kind of lost the Balkans to rampant gambling addiction. That's tragic. It's really heartbreaking that my niece is extremely addicted to doom scrolling. They put iPads in front of kids, man. It's crazy. You can't blame parents either, right? Like being a parent, I'm not one yet, but like being a parent is incredibly hard, I imagine. And if you can just put this device in front of a child and pacify them for 10 minutes so that you can get a breather, it's very difficult to say like the parents are bad people for wanting a breather, right? Like that's not fair. And I'm not willing to put that on them, But like the tragedy of the iPad addicted child is still real, right? Both at the same time. What have we got so far? I like what you're doing so far. I have a bunch of expertise by virtue of failing all the possible ways. Hell yeah. I'm happy to throw in what I can. I'm super excited. I think there is a lot of potential to, as a community, build resources and start to like actually disseminate them. I also still have contact with some researchers in attention economy, smartphone addiction spaces. And I was thinking about running cohorts of digital minimalist interventions as a team. And actually, obviously with consent, running these as studies in participation with universities to demonstrate like how useful like a deep intentional attention economy intervention could be. So there we go. What else we got? Where's the Discord link? I would love to join the community. Yeah, 100%. Let me send that in. Boom. There we go. That should work. They don't know how, and breaking addiction is hard. Yes, that's it, right? Like it is. We need to call it an addiction so that we think about it properly. And yeah, like it's incredibly hard. I've been working on this for 5 years, right? Basically, since COVID, I realized that like my smartphone use was skyrocketing. It started in undergrad because I discovered you could scroll Reddit on your phone, and I was like, this is awesome. Right? And then, because before that, I had a really shitty smartphone, like all the time. So loading things on Reddit was painfully slow, so I never became addicted. And then I got a nice phone, and then I was like, oh, and then COVID hit, and there was nothing to do. And then I was like, oh, wow, my 2 hours of doom scrolling has become 6. This is terrible. All right, hold on. What do we got? Imagine a world where everyone can have a home server node like they do a fridge or hot water heater. My friend thinks I'm nuts. No, that's exactly it. I was just telling my girlfriend this idea. I was like, and Nick also has talked about an idea like this. It's like, if you could buy cloud, right? Like the equivalent of cloud services as an appliance, like you would a washing machine. It's your self-hosted, like Google Docs equivalent, file server, all of the things that you normally need, right? And if you treat it like an appliance, then reasonably high costs are also normal, right? Like people don't want a home lab because it's costly, and the costs are like constantly growing because it's a hobby, right? And you're just going to end up buying more stuff. But if you treat it like an appliance, it's no longer a hobby. It's a thing you buy to run your home. That's viable. What else we got? There's a dude that goes around the city and asking elderly people for money. And after he goes to the local bingo place where one can gamble and stuff. That's sad. That is sad. Absurd. Hello. Low cost, indoor, social, and accepting. I'm not sure it's the gambling. Yeah. See, that's the part of what my mesh DNS thing is. Ah, okay. See, I think there's a potential here for a little open source community development around figuring out the home cloud box. You know what I mean? Trying to make it easier with tech. Yeah. Making things painful to use has helped me reduce usage on quite a few things. Yes, 100%. So, like psychologically validated, the more friction you introduce, the less you're going to use the application, right? It makes, so if we go back to the video and we talk about stimulus slash cue and reward, those are the two things. Oh, and then variable reward rate, right? You need to make the stimulus or the cue less stimulating, right? So that's like turning off notifications or not letting them ping you and things like that. And then also you need to add friction, right? This makes it so that the connection between the cue and the behavior is weakened. And then on the other end of things, stimulus, cue, reward, you can train yourself or teach yourself to find things less rewarding, right? So for example, YouTube is one of my big vices. The discovery, and so I would watch a lot of videos on how to use Vim because I'm like a Vim nerd. I fucking love Vim. I love my text editor. And I would watch all these videos on it. And at first it was super useful, right? Like you watch the Primeagen's tutorial on how to use NeoVim and you're like, wow, I'm a better Vim user. But at some point you hit like the cap because on YouTube, the most successful videos are introductory level videos, right? Because you can hit the broadest audience that way. But you don't want to stay introductory level forever. And so I read Practical Vim. Fantastic book. I am 10 times the Vim user I used to be, right? And so I do this, and all of a sudden the perceived reward of using YouTube, which is I might learn something useful, is lessened because I now know that that reward is better gotten through reading. And so that behavior is weakened. Anyways, okay. It's the gambling and nothing else. Norway gives a ton of resources to each citizen to help them. We do not need to go around asking people for money here in Norway at all. The home cloud box is what I'm trying to build at the business level. Basically, it hurts seeing small businesses overpay and have awful experiences. Agreed. Totally agreed. That sounds awesome. No need for an excuse. Vim is awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So, all of that comes together. And now we're here. And I made a video. And a lot of people really liked that video. And now I'm trying to figure out how to make it more than that. So that it's not just like a video where people felt a little bit inspired, joined a Discord group, and then everybody fell off. What I want is for this to become like a reinforcing community of people working on tackling the attention economy in a number of different ways based on their skill sets, right? Like we're all sort of contributing to this. My goal will be making videos about it and disseminating. But so I see a couple of things. I see a couple of options here. Let's talk about some of that. Luckily, some apps introduce bloatware on their own. What made me completely reject Messenger was how sluggish it became. The same goes for Windows. Yeah, Facebook Messenger as an application was so bad by the time I stopped using it. That was like back in 2019, I think I stopped using Facebook Messenger. What do we got? Read my previous chat message and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Home Cloud Books could easily use Arc Block ecosystem for the modularity and owning your data. Ooh, okay. A whole wiki for this would be great. Bekmala says, just got your last video recommended. Sometimes the algorithm still has some good things to offer, as it seems, and I'm all in. Hell yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's true. This is one of the things that the algorithm, one of the reasons we all keep coming back to YouTube, even though we know that it's bad for us overall, is sometimes we get something really useful. And that's a variable reward rate, which keeps you coming back. There are ways, I think, to harness it without letting it sort of like constantly feed you things. I think one of the best ways is to keep the home feed and other like algorithmic introductions blocked the majority of the time, except for like once a week. And then you can go browsing for like 30 minutes, bookmark a bunch of stuff, and then come back. That way you can introduce new ideas into your life, watch a couple YouTube videos, and then just watch your subscriptions. Did dumbifying your phone work for you? So much. Yes. 100%. Okay. Hold on. This is my phone. This is my smartphone. It's not very smart anymore. I know it's kind of hard to see, but it's black and white. It's got phone messages, maps, and Uber. And I use it significantly less. Hold on. Let me see if I can show you all my screen time. Because like, I believe this works, man. I really do. Okay. I don't think you can see that from here, but I'm averaging 16 minutes a day. It's working. It's working. Okay. So, let's um let's chat a little bit more about resources because I think that's one of the things we can do together. So, let's pop this open. This is something we've been working on as a team. Uh, I need to organize. I didn't expect all of this to happen so quickly, so I'm not organized. I like put out the video, and it was just another weekly video. You know what I mean? Um, and and then all of a sudden, like 200 people were in the Discord. Okay. Is it in introductions? Is it in code of conduct? Ah, it's in code of conduct. Okay, cool. So let's pop this open. Oh, people have gotten to work. Okay. This is great. So, let's take a quick look. I don't think many are aware of how destructive reward stuff is like that. I used to work in game design for a few years. Yeah. When you realize what you can do, it's pretty spooky. Yeah, totally. I'm aware at this point where I demartified my phone except for lab stuff. I'm now just opening it to look at Home Assistant, turning on and off lights. Yep, that's healthy, right? That counts. You're good. The YouTube algorithm, you should make that on Leaflet. Yes, that is something we will migrate to. Thank you for all of your suggestions, by the way. Oh, this is awesome. Thank you for all of your suggestions on technology. I think we've got a lot of progress here. Went all in 5 years ago. I don't own a private smartphone anymore, but I attached my personal MSISDN to my company phone. Smart. I like that. What is this? Members only live stream. YouTube, leave me alone. I want to chat with all the new folks. I don't want them to have to pay just to talk to me. Jesus. Sorry, I was clicking. It gave me a notification in the middle of my stream. Anyways, so let's take a quick look at this. But first, I want to draw your attention to this as a concept, right? What people need are resources. There was actually a research paper on this. Sir, it's Wednesday. It is. I'll be streaming tomorrow too, don't worry. Also, hey, Kyle. So, let me organize my thoughts. There was a research paper that went out basically saying when you give people like a menu of different interventions, they do better than just giving them one intervention. So an intervention is any way that somebody tries to reduce their smartphone use, right? Any way you intervene on their usual behaviors. So that could be, I made my smartphone black and white. That could be, I have a smartphone blocker. That could be, I have a sticky note that says, put your phone in your desk for 2 minutes, right? Every Thursday, right? Whatever it is, that's an intervention. Most experiments test one intervention. This was an experiment that tested, we gave students a menu of interventions, and we saw that this performed better. They stuck with their interventions longer. They rotated interventions when previous interventions stopped working, and it worked better. So what we want to do here is create a list of resources, that menu of potential interventions, so that people can choose the ones that work best for them. Okay? But what about the other end with choice paralysis? It's a good point. That is a really good point. I think the best thing to do there is to encourage people to start with one, right? So there's choice paralysis. Maybe we'll do something like start here. Uninstall the apps from your phone. There we go. That's concept number one. If you have choice paralysis about this, start here. Okay. What do we got? But they make money on it. YouTube wants your mola mola. Okay. So yes, here's step one. We do this. We just collect information so that people have a resource. No matter what they're working with, they can find something that might work for them. I think the end goal for this would be a wiki. For now, leaflet. Leaflet looks cool. We might move this over. The important thing though is like to make it as easy as possible for people to interact. Yo, where's the Discord link? I will drop it here. Invite people. Boom. Welcome to the gang. um, I would love for it to. Me too. We'll work on that. Okay. KDE Connect. Interesting. Okay. Make a Zine. That could be cool. I am working, I mean, I have a newsletter. So if you're not familiar, I do write regularly. I write once a week on my newsletter. I will be writing about this kind of stuff, right? Over here. I'm just going to drop that in there. As long as the color is purple. Leaflet can be made to look a lot like a Zine too, by the way. Okay, cool. Let's make a Zine together. All right. We need a place to store ideas too. Because that's the wrong camera. I want this camera. There are more ideas than I alone can capture and manage. Like, I have been, in a very positive way, absolutely overwhelmed by the number of fantastic things you guys are all doing. Like, remember I posted this video on Friday, the Discord was 40 people, and I just made a video. And I remember saying to myself, like, nah, this video is gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. My girlfriend thought it was gonna be my best video ever. She's consistently righter than I am. So, anyways, I am trying to figure out the best way for me to deploy my time to make this effective. But I think we're gonna need some like leaders to pop up to help, because yeah, there's a lot. Tereth says, I wonder if there's a way to use interventions, nudges, and variability for the sake of digital minimalism and for the good case. Yes, that was what my PhD was going to be about, by the way. Hold on. Okay. Um, what do we got? Many of us have been doing this stuff just by ourselves. Yeah, I think like gathering though is valuable. Oh no, you nerd triggered him. It's true. We've been always been tinkering with this stuff. It's just that you brought us together. That's the most exciting thing to me because last time I did something like this, it was with an organization called C Cubed, the Computing Councils of Canada. And basically during COVID, I noticed as like somebody leading a computer science undergraduate community that we were all kind of bummed because we couldn't run events together anymore. And then I realized, well, if we're running all of our events online, which we were doing, then all of a sudden we could run events together with other universities and pool our resources because we didn't have to go to one another. We could share our events. And so I started connecting people. And the best part about that was when I started reaching out, it wasn't as if I was proposing a new idea. It was as if they had all had the same idea and were just waiting on somebody to bring them together. And that's how I feel this time too. I feel like we've all been thinking about this and we were all kind of working on it on our own and just needed like a nudge to bring people together to work on it. So that's happening. Kyle, yeah, I agree. I agree that there is a sort of irony of gathering people online in a digital format to work on digital minimalism together. And so I'm trying to, like, that's something that I'm thinking about as well. How do you balance the actual goal of digital minimalism with like with the media through which we communicate? So I think there's going to be some tooling that needs to be built and some principles that need to be established. For example, I was thinking about this on my walk today. It would be really cool is that if you got the role digital minimalist in the Discord, if you could set a timer, which kind of like blocks off. So you can say, I'm going to be on Discord or on the server for 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, it like prompts you to get off. I think that kind of tooling would be really useful, which brings us back to nudges. So my PhD was gonna be in uh, digital interventions for reducing smartphone overuse. And I was very interested in choice architecture. I was at a lab called the Intelligent Adaptive Interventions Lab. So yeah, that's why I was really interested in smartphone. They call them digital self-control tools in the human-computer interaction literature. But yes, I think there's something there. Ban the user after the 20 minutes. Yeah. I try not to think of it as minimalism, but rather sovereignty. That's fair. That's fair. I think that's a reasonable distinction. Hey, MK, how's it going? Zan says true. Okay, so yes, let's think about this. My copy of Digital Minimalism is in the other room. I think there are two things that are going to be really, or a couple of things that are going to be really useful for ensuring that we stand by the principles we talk about. And that is sort of limiting random Discord chatter is going to be useful if you're like a digital minimalist. And I think the way to do that is just to set gathering times and sort of commit to those as the time that we engage as a community. And then otherwise, we sort of prepare materials and things we want to share and then dump them during the community gathering times. That makes it so that you're not chronically online, but you're still engaging with the community. So for example, I've been doing this where I try to stick to communicating from 4 to 5 p.m. That's when I'm allowed Discord time or during my streams. That's been helping a lot because like Discord was kind of a source of anxiety for me. As much as it's fantastic to engage with you all, I did have this constant like polling thing sitting in the background of my brain. Like, you should be checking. You should make sure that people are having fun. It's like, no, people are great people and they will have fun the way that they have fun. I don't have to like police their fun. And so I think that's a principle we can stand by. Is like we can engage as a community through our digital media. Particularly by sharing time. So during the streams and things like that. That'll help. If it's an external USB 3 4K capture card, it behaves just like a webcam. Oh, I have a real question about Linux and how to deal with 4K capture cards. And by the way, are you in BC? No, I'm in Toronto, but I have family out in BC and I do visit regularly. Okay, cool. So, where are we? Where were we? Ah, yes, resources. Resources. Let's jump back here. Man, freaking Substack has a Twitter feed now, which I find extremely frustrating. Also, thanks to everybody who followed the newsletter. Really appreciate that. Newsletter is another great way, I feel like, to engage with the community in a digitally minimalist way because it comes to you once a week. It's very like closed. There's no infinite scroll of the newsletter. There's just the newsletter to read, and then you'll get another one next week. So I think that's a good way to interact. Yes, the community might naturally shrink if people become true minimalists. I think having gathering times is a great idea to prevent that. Like the goal of community is to leave it, sort of. Yeah. So that was something I was thinking about as well, right? Obviously, the more digital minimalist you become, the less you want to spend time on Discord, which is like reasonable, right? Obviously. So I think having set gathering times is a really good way to keep the community sort of tight knit and working on things together while still engaging with the principles. Can we get a subscribable XML of the newsletter? Yeah, I will figure out how to do that. I'll put that on my to-do list. uh, I'll see if Substack allows that, because that would be nice. And I respect, like, if you don't want your email to be on like my email newsletter list, that's totally fine. I respect your privacy and all that. And so if you find another way to subscribe to my newsletter, and I will work on creating one, that's perfectly fine. Okay, what else we got here? So, okay, resource number one. Why is it not following me? There we go. Okay, we have this guy. And I encourage you to contribute to this. If you don't know where this is, in the Discord, if you go to Code of Conduct, you'll see this resources document. I realize that's a horrible place to put it. And it almost ensures that nobody will find it. Surely they support RSS, yes? I would hope so. I just haven't looked into it yet. If it has an RSS feed, I'll add it to my Flim. Open source people come up with the best names for things. Flim. All right, cool. I will figure that out. Let's do a video suggestions. Search new post. To do. RSS feed for newsletter. There we go. That'll help. I've seen things here, plus that are people still trying to work with them. I wish there was a better way to build a self-controlled feed of the platforms I still want to check in on. Oh, hey, Flim. They do. It's the name.substack/feed.xml. Ah, there you go. Thanks, Wilhelm. Okay. So, resources. I don't like the infinite scroll Substack, but I find myself only getting a few posts down, finding one that sounds interesting, reading it, then logging off. Nice. Yeah, I hated the introduction of these things. I tried like using it for a bit, and I just felt kind of shitty. Okay, so let's talk about something else. This is something that I was drafting up. I'm just going to pop this over here for now, because, again, I apologize for using Google Drive. We will maneuver our way over to better things soon. Okay, so here's the other thing I've drafted. Miniflux for RSS. Okay. Google Reader was actually kind of peak in that regard. Okay, so let's talk about this guy. This is the 30-day digital declutter document guide that I sort of whipped together. I did my best to gather as much of my knowledge of psychological interventions as possible to make this work. So, first idea is this. Let's jump back. First thing is this. In the book Digital Minimalism, Cal Newport's book, he recommends a 30-day digital declutter. The idea is to be like ruthless here, right? To really, really cut back on your stuff. And I have been doing my best to that end. I've already started, and we've cut like Netflix off of the Apple TV. I don't have music or podcasts on my phone because I'm trying to maximize like time spent with my thoughts, you know? Which is like, most people think of podcasts and music listening as like harmless or productive, which I think is true. And music is great. I'm not saying don't listen to music. What I'm saying is I didn't want the option to drown out my thoughts just cause. Okay, so I went very minimalist on this, and I am thinking of picking up a flip phone. There will be a video on that if I do. The digital declutter, the idea is to strip out as much as possible, right? So that you can learn what you can and can't live without, right? Obviously, if you already know, it's absolutely necessary that you have your work email, right? Otherwise, your career will crumble. Then don't get rid of that. But there are lots of things that are optional, right? And so we want to get rid of about as much of that as possible for 30 days to see what it's like. Then after the 30 days, we review that process and see what we want to re-include in our lives intentionally. Okay? So I threw this together. This is basically the first iteration of the 30-day experiment, the 30-day digital declutter. And it introduces a lot of ideas. So first off, it says, hi, this is me. I did go down from 6 hours a day to less than 20, and it's awesome. Like, it's really nice. But I have, like, this happens where I'll go down to 20 minutes or less, and then I'll creep back up to an hour or two, and then I have to do the declutter again. So this is an iterative process. Music is mandatory for my neurospicy self. Fair enough. I do miss listening to music, and that is one of the things I'm sure I will reintroduce. I also do still listen to music, kind of like I hosted an event for my girlfriend's little sister. She had her birthday, and so there was music, and we played it. Like I'm not just like cutting out music entirely. It's more like music to kill out my thoughts on the bus and things. But anyways. So I introduced some core reading. First off, the book, and then my video. I wrote this tutorial a while back on cutting back smartphone use through certain interventions. I recommend you take a look at this because it works. It actually does. This is a more philosophical thing where I'm looking at like dual systems theory. So if you've read Kahneman's work, they won the Nobel Prize for this, by the way, on dual systems theory, kind of like gives a rationale as to how our brain works and keeps us coming back. Anyways, the idea is to create a 30-day, like a cohort committed to the 30-day digital declutter. I think this is valuable because when you bring together multiple people who are working on the same thing and reinforcing one another, that helps. So I introduced this idea of starting the digital declutter together and ending it together, sharing that 30-day period. So I think I introduced the idea of these Thursday check-ins, where you can answer these questions, how you felt, what you struggled with, if you relapsed, and what you did instead of scrolling, because sharing that information might be helpful with one another. I also talk about the buddy system because accountability buddies work. This is just demonstrable in the research, right? Like we know that works. So definitely having a buddy through this process is good. Hey, second screen is my main problem. I fixed my phone problem with one of your recent videos. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I got rid of my second monitor. I used to be a dual monitor person. Now I only have this little monitor under my thing for when I'm streaming. Getting rid of the dual monitor was great. Super, super useful. Okay, so I want to introduce to you one of the most famous and powerful intervention tools of all time. It's a pairing of two tools, mental contrasting and implementation intentions. So this is something that comes up a lot in intervention research. Mental contrasting is the idea of like, you imagine two different futures. One where you do not undergo some behavioral change, right? So you don't stop doom scrolling. And you then contrast that with the imagined future of if you do reduce your doom scrolling, right? And so that's step one. You spend the time to write down, probably by hand, it's more effective that way, how you would spend your time, how you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, what you might accomplish or fail to accomplish, how your relationships feel, if you lived a life where your doom scrolling stayed the same or worsened. And then you write the exact same things, but if you became a digital minimalist. What do we got? Just going to take a quick look at our chat. Key, hey, how's it going? I'm a super ultra-wide person. Oh, I loved my ultra-wide monitor when I had one. I switched though. I want to go back to a single monitor, but I use the ultra-wide monitor for sim racing. That's cool. One thing that you might do if you care, care to do this, you can always just like adjust like on your monitor's little dongle guy, the little menu, you can set it to 16 by 9 for some of the time and then switch it back to 32 by 9 for your sim racing. Tim says, BRB, going to take my morning smoke. Keep in mind, I am 6 hours in front of you. Fair enough. Chat, be nice to Nathan or else. Thank you. Triple screen user, but 2 of them are the main screen using. Fair enough. Okay, so this is step 1. This, if you go through this process, you are far, far more likely to succeed. This is just true. It's like in the science, okay? Next up is the like audit of your tech. So list the apps, websites, platforms, whatever you're going to cut. Start with your hard nose. For me, I'm not watching any YouTube videos this month. None. No YouTube videos, no video games, except for if I'm playing in person in a group setting. So that's like Mario Kart at a friend's house, right? That's fine. But I'm not playing video games on my PC. Linus Ree, have you heard of Activity Watch? It's self-hosted. I haven't. I tried exactly that, but it was triggering. Fair. You paid for the whole monitor. You want to use the whole monitor. I get it. Activity Watch. I'm just going to pop that open. And then we'll get back to it after this guy. Okay. So list them out. These are what you're going to cut for 30 days. The next thing you're going to do is design implementation intentions. These are simple if-then plans. But again, the science shows that simply writing these out and keeping them on a sticky note where you can see them makes you significantly more likely to follow through with your plans. Just, okay? So, for example, if I open Instagram or feel the urge to open Instagram, say you uninstalled them because you're taking this seriously, then I'll put my phone away. Let's actually update this. If I feel the urge to open Instagram, which I uninstalled because I'm awesome, then I will go for a short walk. Something like this, right? So you're just building if-then statements. They're like algorithms for your behavior. Keep them simple, keep them short. You will be more likely to follow through. Gabrielle says, are you going to share this document? I don't remember the last time I didn't watch any YouTube video in a day. Yes, I will be sharing this document. Absolutely. Let me find a good way to do that. But first, but for now, I'll just drop it here. The next thing I want to do is have you figure out what you're going to do instead, right? What are you going to reclaim because now that you've gotten rid of your smartphone usage, right? So this is really important. Let's take another quick look. Boom. This is super important. For a lot of us, we're filling time with our smartphone overuse, with scrolling Reddit and whatever, because we don't have like a complex, rich leisure life, right? So that might be you don't have or haven't engaged with hobbies that you love for a long time. You need to re-engage with those because you will be bored. You will be bored. And the solution is not just like be bored all the time, right? You need something to do. Pick some things that you love, things that you're really excited to do, right? That could be like board game nights with your friends. That could be like picking up games of volleyball. Whatever you want to do, it helps if it's social. That's a big factor. But start doing something you care about instead. You have to find some things to do. There's 2 reasons for this. One is the negative end. You will just be bored and you need something to do to help with your boredom. The other end is you need hope. You need to care about something enough that you're chasing after it, right? So, for example, for me, one of the best things that has come out of just the last week of digital minimalism, my digital declutter, has been I've spent more time with my girlfriend and focused attention time, right? Because here's an example. I get an hour for lunch, right? What would happen before is I would sign off for my hour for lunch. I would open up YouTube, go get a snack or lunch, whatever, and then watch YouTube videos. And my girlfriend would be like, she would look busy, so I wouldn't want to bother her. So I didn't bother her, and I would watch my YouTube video. Now I'm too bored, right? There's no YouTube video. I make my food, and I just like, I'm so bored that I bother her. I just go up to her, I'm like, hey, do you want to go for a walk with me? And then, like, 8 times out of 10, we do. Sometimes she's busy, and that's fine, and I just go for the walk anyways. But, like, this is what I'm like chasing, right? It's not digital minimalism because like fuck Mark Zuckerberg. That's fun and that's fine, but we don't want to do this just out of spite. We want to do this because there is a better way to spend our time, and not for productivity's sake, right? This isn't a hustle culture thing. This is because like we already love our loved ones. We already love our hobbies, and we're not doing them, and we can, right? So knowing what you're doing this for is super valuable, right? Hope inspires more than spite inspires. So let's do that. Started geocaching. That's awesome. All right, hold on. Let's jump back. Holy 45 viewers. This is my biggest stream ever. You guys are awesome. Okay. Spite is a really good motivator for some of us. I'm also guilty of spite. I love me some good spite. However, hope is good too. Let's do both. Let's do both. Okay. I'm very interested in this, but I'll have to catch the VOD later. My day today has been chaotic. No worries. The VOD will be up, and you're more than welcome to take a look at it after, Kojo. Thank you. Do you have a Discord community I could join? Yes. Yes, I do. I should have put that in the description of this video. Maybe a resources channel in the Discord. Oh, we're working on that one. We're creating for now it's a Google Doc. We will move it to something self-hosted and awesome later, soon. But we do have a resources document. If you go to Code of Conduct, and I apologize for putting it in Code of Conduct, which is a horrible place to put it, maybe we'll make a resources channel. We have this document of resources. We're working on it. It's coming together. I invite everybody. It's open edit. I just trust you. I'm just sure that nobody in this community is going to grease this document. So have at it. Add to it. Read it. Work on it. Whatever you want to do. What do we got? So digital minimalism for a better life. Yes, exactly. How often do you reward yourself? That's a good question. By reward yourself, what do you mean? What's like what would you consider a reward? Or is it really just about what I consider a reward? Both. Both is good. Yes. You can just pin that comment. Thank you guys. I'm like really horrible at using Discord and social media and the Office suite. which I hope is endearing, giving my stance instead of just like glaring incompetence. Okay. Let's see. If I recall correctly, Paperless is a Google Docs replacement. I don't think so. I think Paperless is more like for gathering receipts and other paper things in like a scannable area. But I appreciate suggestions, so don't be discouraged. Max DGT, sorry. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for saying hey. I get you trust us, just make a backup of that sacred file. Fair. Yes, I will. I absolutely we'll download this copy right now. Just for now. We'll take it from there. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Nextcloud is a proper replacement for Google Docs, etc. Yes. A reward myself never works. I know the gal with the keys to the reward, and she is a pushover. My YouTube algorithm brought me here. Isn't that a paradox? Yes. Yes, it is. Kind of. Have you heard of pangolin? Let's talk about the paradox, and I will also keep pangolin, and then I also need to look at Activity Watch. Pangolin software. Laser systems? Tunneling reversed proxy. Okay. Yeah, we're going to need to figure out how to host things as a community. And then we'll need to fund that some way. So that's something to think about. I'll keep this open. Okay, for what it's worth, Google Docs has revision history too. Yes, yes, it does. That was one of the reasons I was also not too afraid. Okay, sorry for flicking back and forth. I know it can be jarring, but I get lost in my workspaces. Okay, on the topic of the paradox, there is a solution. I'm going to pin a frequently asked question soon. The paradox of you found me through the algorithm and we want to defeat the algorithm. Here's what I propose. The algorithm is not entirely without value. It serves a purpose. The purpose is to introduce new ideas into your life. The detriment, when that becomes problematic, there we go, is when the algorithm's addictive features become the main way through which we engage with it, right? So I propose this. Don't banish the algorithm. Find other or restricted ways to introduce new ideas into your life in like small time spans. So this is my example. On Saturday, for 30 minutes, I unblock the homepage on YouTube so I gain access to the algorithm again. Then I find a number of videos that I find interesting to me. I pin them or bookmark them, and then I turn off the home page again. That way I can introduce new ideas into my life, but at a pace that's not anxiety inducing. And hopefully through that process, you'll find me and other things you enjoy. Have a look at Awesome Self-Hosted. Ah, that makes sense. That was one of the inspirations for this. So here's this document, and then here's the resources document. I was like, a lot like the GitHub repos that are like awesome Docker or awesome TUI, awesome self-hosting. So this is perfect. Perfect. You're right. You're right on the money. Okay. So that's the idea. That's the idea. And just checking, I'm going to do a poll here. Who would no, I need to phrase these questions better. Would you participate in the first 30-day digital detox cohort, right? So that is committing to this specific protocol for 30 days, right? That means doing the weekly check-ins. That means finding a buddy. That means writing out the first mental contrasting step and doing the audit and actually trying your best. And everybody fails. Everybody fails here and there, right? It's like, that's fine. That's normal. But by trying, even if like your goal is to cut out everything completely, if you cut out most stuff and you consider it a failure to like relapse on YouTube one day, you have still succeeded 29 other days, right? So don't worry about that part. The important part is committing to trying for 30 days. How many of you would be willing to do that as part of a cohort? It's okay if you don't want to do that. It's okay. Just curious. I'm going to start the poll. Okay. What do we got? Two Medium says, wow, mind blown. I actually already have a Taproot watch later, but I never get into it because I never shut down the daily algorithm. Exactly, right? You're so inundated with a constant feed of new information that you never get to process the information that you wanted to in the first place. It's a mental prison. Like, it's horrible. Right? Because there's all these things you want to engage with already, and you're constantly just taking in a stream of shallowly engaging things instead. So yeah. You'd ideally need to install it on a VPS, also an alternative to opening ports on your home network to the internet. Okay. Ian, not ready yet. That's totally fine. Yes, Unhook is fantastic. I use that one myself. I use a couple. Why? Wait, why can I still access Discord? Shouldn't it be blocked? Maybe it's on refresh. Anyways, just stopping reflexive behaviors. Oh my God, yeah, I have a bunch of YouTube tabs open, but I never watch them and I close them eventually because it takes up. Yeah, exactly. Right? There are better ways to handle new information coming in. Okay, so what do we got? What do we got from the gang? How do I check this? 20 votes, and we got quite a few people interested. This detox is too hard. That's okay. You can start small. You don't have to like go whole hog, you know? I love my brain rot too much. I use unwatched and YouTube RSS feed. That's fantastic. That's a really good idea. Narrow down my subs to 15 channels. Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up for sure. Okay. So it looks like just in this stream alone, we've got a number of people willing to try. And that's great. I mean, it took me a long time to build up to the idea of like a full digital detox, right? Like it's a big step. It's a huge step. So that's fair. A way to prevent you from watching random videos on YouTube is to pause/turn off watch history and clear your history. That helps a lot. You still have access to your subs, but the homepage is blank. Yep. Okay. So, oh, this is cool. Is this the new leaflet? Oh, this looks so good. This looks so good. I love this. Thank you. Thank you. Can we all edit it as well? Is this like a thing that we can do? We'll have to take a we'll take a look at that. That's really cool. Okay. Wow, look at all these new folks. Thank you all so much. I think I'm largely good. Yep. You are good. Okay. And it's purple. Is purple a thing? Are we doing purple like hardcore? Cuz that's fine for me. I haven't picked a color. I mean, I picked a color scheme for my Substack. But I've also been told I have really bland taste. So purple for this sounds good to me. I'm not ready, but your content seems interesting. No problem. No problem at all. Right? Like, I feel like, how do I want to phrase this? It takes a while to warm up to this. And this is why I think about digital minimalism and the homelabing process through and like digital sovereignty and those sorts of things as a journey, and it takes time. And that's fine, right? Like if you need some time to digest the ideas, and even if you never do like the full digital detox, if you find something that regains you a little bit of time and maybe a little bit of your digital privacy, and that makes you feel better about how you spend your time and all of that, then that is a massive win. It doesn't have to be this all or nothing thing, you know? What's the point in the detox? What is the point in the detox? The point of the detox is, I think you gain a lot by taking the extreme minimal approach first. So let's chat about that real quick. I think you gain a lot by taking the extreme approach, because there are a lot of things. I'm doing this right now, so this is my experience. There are a lot of things that I thought were going to be mandatory for me, and then they're just not. And getting rid of them has been awesome. So I think most people start by thinking to themselves, my culprits, my vices are YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram, whatever it is, right? And then if you uninstall those apps, that regains you some time, and you're like, great, I've gotten rid of like the biggest problem. And that may be true, and that's fantastic, right? Like that's nothing against that stance. But I think two things happen. I've been doing this for about 5 years, and I like constantly, I relapse and then I do a digital detox again. And then that sticks for a while. I find what happens is the smartphone is really, really good at pulling you back in, right? Somebody creates a new Instagram group chat. And so you reinstall Instagram because it's just useful this one time. And then you don't uninstall it, and then you're scrolling again. And this just seems to happen. This has happened to me on a number of occasions. And by taking the extremist stance for 30 days alone, it forces you to reconsider this and also to talk to your friends about it, right? So it forces you to go, hey guys, I'm not going to be accessible via Instagram for at least 30 days, potentially moving forward, right? And so now your friends will be respectful of that fact, and you won't have that like additional pressure to bring you back in. Also, the more you minimize your phone's nonsense, right, the fewer things are likely to pull you back in. And then you also rediscover other things. So like I'm getting rid of music on my phone and podcasts. Two things that I love. I love listening to podcasts. I love listening to music. I've been playing guitar since I was 9. There we go. I remembered. I don't want to lose music, and so it's a weird thing to get rid of. But I think the experiment is worthwhile. What would happen if I didn't have access to it? Um, and it turns out I go on long walks and think, and it clears my brain, and I feel really good. And then I also listen to albums front to back intentionally instead of like haphazardly through Spotify. And that's made my enjoyment of music also like better. So the point of the digital minimalist, like the detox, is to radically change your perspective. Yeah, to radically change your perspective so that you can like more objectively view your relationship with digital stuff. And that might, not guaranteed, but it might change the way you behave with your digital interactions moving forward. That's worthwhile. That's my thought. Okay. What do we got? Oh, there's a lot of comments here. I work in IT. JP says I work in IT and spend all my workday online. Yeah, I feel that. I don't want to spend the rest of my day consumed by other devices as well. I feel that detox is good, but so is low hanging fruit. Agreed, exactly. Time and privacy. When was the last time you read a book? I read a fair amount. Reading a couple at the moment. Oh, cool. What kind of books are you reading? Unhook, specifically Killing Shorts was the best. Yeah. I hate shorts. I see people who always scrolling can still focus on work. I can't focus on work. Okay. Most people don't, however. The fact that you're watching this means that you're probably quite abnormal in several regards. Yes, that's one of the interesting things about this community as it forms, right? It's going to be like a very self-selecting, motivated community, which is an interesting feature of a population from a research standpoint. Anyways, nothing is allowed notification on my phone except Discord because that's how I stay in touch with friends and family. Fair enough. Yes, cutting out notifications is awesome. For most people, I'd say it's real important to do something like this. Nathan, will you make any videos about reading? I might. That one's kind of tricky because I'm a homelab channel, right? Maybe I'll do like an audio bookshelf, self-hosting kind of thing and link it to digital sovereignty and like getting away from Kindle and stuff like that. That could work. I'll have to go soon with the stream recorded. And how do I know when the 30-day detox starts without constantly checking Discord? Fair. Yeah, I need to decide on that. Yes, music is a pretty touchy subject. It can really be a major problem if you're using it to censor your thoughts or uncomfortable silences while working or idling. Agreed. Sally Dog says, thanks for the answer. No problem. I've been making the switch to physical media, both for music and movies. Dude, physical media from books and movies has been awesome. Glassbead Game and Treasure Island. Really enjoying Glassbead Game. Yeah, audio bookshelf, Navdrum. That could be really cool. Reading plus homelab equals... Yes. Okay, there we go, plus. That's the solution. We'll take a look at that. And we'll do it as like a Kindle thing, and then we'll just talk about like the attention economy benefits of reading. And then we can get there. Yeah, that'll work. Even self-hosted or downloaded music can be a better option than paying to streaming platform. Yes. Don't get away from Kindle. Root your Kindle. Oh, works for me. There's that spite you were talking about. Okay. So I was thinking about launching the detox thing, the first cohort ASAP. But I think maybe the best thing to do would be to hold off a little and then get people to sign up. All right, gang, I need some help. What's the best tool for gathering signups? I don't want to use a Google form because defaulting to a bunch of Google things feels wrong. And then what I'll do is I'll disseminate the sign up page because, and here's another thing, another psychology trick. Commitment devices are valuable and important. If you sign up for something and state, I will be doing this, you are significantly more likely to follow through. And that's why we'll be creating a sign up sheet, because the cohort will be signing up and launching together. Okay. So I need to work on that, but we will be gathering and talking about this at the beginning of my Thursday streams. So that's I stream 4 to 6 on Thursdays. We'll gather to talk about it then. So you don't have to constantly check Discord. I will launch it on a Thursday during one of those streams. I just need to figure out which one and how prepared I need to be to be able to launch this. Okay. Okay, what do we got? Kind of off topic, but what genres do you enjoy? Good question. That's fun. I read a lot of like pop science and nonfiction, pop psychology, that kind of thing. I also am trying to read classic literature. So I'm right now reading Demons by Dostoevsky. I'm reading the Richard Pevere and Larissa Volokonsky translation, which is fantastic. I read the Iliad and the Odyssey recently, this summer. And I'm basically trying to teach myself to become a literature nerd because I was a STEM kid growing up, and I thought all reading was lame and dumb. And then I learned that it's not, and so now I'm trying to get into literature and film and art and things and appreciate that kind of thing. So yeah. Calibra Web would also be a good addition to Audio Bookshelf. Nice. Yes, but use the tools to hand. Don't wait for perfect. Use a Google form this time. You're so right. You're so right. Self-host, there's Nextcloud, Linus Free. Are we the same person? Nextcloud forms. I haven't gotten to Nextcloud yet, but we will work on that. Okay, you're right. Let's do the Google Forms, and let's get this going. Let's get this going. Okay, I will build that out, and I think maybe we'll launch not this week, but next week. That will probably give us enough time to gather folks together. We'll see. If I need another week, then we'll give it another week. I want to see if we can gather like 40 people for the first cohort. See what we can do. Okay, cool. I think I'm a STEM girl, but I come from a family that normalized reading 50 books in a month as just a thing people did. That's a load of reading. That's awesome. That's super cool. I wish I had been more of a reader growing up. I think that would have been really good for me. But, you know, life's long. People say life is short. I think that's bullshit. I think life is really long. There's time. There's time for me at 27 to become somebody who reads Dostoevsky, despite never having read any literature at all. Right? Like that. There's time to do this, especially if you don't doom scroll. Okay, gang. So, that's the deal. That's the plan. That's the story. That's where we're at with this. I'm gonna prepare to sign off this stream, but it has been an absolute blast to talk to you all, to meet you all, to chat, to make plans. I'm really, really excited about where this goes. I thank you all also for your contributions already, for building out the leaflet hub thing for our digital minimalism lab and our resources, for gathering in the Discord and chatting about what's useful to you, for introducing yourselves and participating. So, tally forms. Leaflet also has a thing. Yes, tally.so. That might work. Okay, we'll think about that. Also for your ideas about YouTube videos. This is going to be great. I'm really, really excited about this. So until tomorrow, if you are available for the stream. If not, no worries. I will catch you around. I guess my last thing is turn off the notifications for this Discord server so that you're not bombarded by it. If you're doing the digital minimalism thing. I will be here Thursdays at 4 to 6 at the very least. And I also check Discord Monday 4 to 6, Thursday 4 to, Monday 4 to 5, Thursday during the stream, and Friday 4 to 5. So I'll be there for that. And we will rally then. Thank you all so much. I'm really, really looking forward to this. And that's all I got to say. Thank you. Catch you all next time. Yes, set notifications to mentions only. Yes, let's reduce the notifications.